Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Santi? I saw that Samantha was on here and she typed in there, but it was too late. Okay. On my end, I thought nobody could hear me because like my microphone is not registering that. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Let me make this a little bit bigger if I can so I can see. Wow. My eyesight, I guess, has gotten bad. Oh, wait. Okay. There we go. Okay. Um, hello, Xanthi, Critter Mama. Samantha. Hey there, Samantha. I'm sorry. I went dark. It's a miracle. Hey, y'all. I know some of you have reached out and said something. I'm actually surprised anybody's here tonight. Without warning. Without warning. Um, how am I? Whoa, isn't that the question? I will tell you. That's really. I mean, I guess if you want to hear, I can tell you. I was gonna talk because I really didn't think anybody was gonna be here. I just got back in from the my little garden. I'm growing some plants and trying to I don't know, find focus again and grow plants because groceries, you know. So I don't know. Are y'all doing that? Is anybody growing a garden this year? Mine's small, but I've got some tomatoes and some peppers. I got my first banana pepper yesterday, and I'm so excited. I should have brought it with me. It's right in the kitchen. But so yeah, this is you're gonna be seeing the no makeup. I've got some mascara and what do I have? Some lip gloss on. You're gonna be seeing this. This is I've decided to do a whole new Silky. I've decided that I don't care about a lot of things I used to care about, and makeup is one of them. Strangely enough, the older I get, the less I really give a rat's hind end about a lot of things. And like putting on stuff on my face every day is really not something I care that much about. So, yeah, let's see. Oh, Critter Mama is saying my garden is looking terrible. So much rain. Yeah, I know. I had to move. You know what I did? If you could see my garden, you'd laugh because I have cats, and I was so afraid that they would tear up the garden because I don't have rats. I've got a couple of inside cats. One is sitting right here in front of me, and the rest are outside cats. And so from when like I have collected all of these, y'all know them big yellow buckets that cat litter comes in. What is it? Tidy cat. And I had like I don't know how many of them in the garage, and I was saving them because they're like 5 gallon buckets. So I decided I was not going to leave my garden to the mercy of whatever critters, because I've got possums and raccoons and all kind of stuff. So I decided I was going to put my plants, and I wanted to do raised bed gardens, but it's expensive. And by the time found somebody who I thought might could do it, look, it was going to be too late. So I put all of my tomato plants in these big old, kitty litter things. And I got my drill out, drilled holes all in the bottom, and put rocks on the bottom so it'd have good drainage system, holes on the sides. Anyway, if you see my garden, if you come up my driveway, you see lines and lines of buckets because I didn't take the tidy cat off. It's just lines of yellow tidy cat buckets. And I've got a few of other random stuff, but mostly it's tidy cat. So it's funny, but I've got like lots of tomato plants and some pepper plants, and uh So I came in, but yeah, I had that same problem, critter mama. One of my bush tomato plants just was getting too much rain, so I but that is the good thing about my garden, because my yard right now, my lawn man can't even come and mow the yard because it just keeps, you know, it keeps raining every day. So what I did is I pulled my that particular tomato plant. At least I can pull them under the shed. So if they start getting too watered down, that's what I'm doing. The only thing that I don't have that I'm going to lose is my cayenne peppers, because I planted them in the edge of the yard where they wouldn't get mowed. Um, I do have my cucumbers in the yard, but they're doing fine. My my daughter's dog decided to make that his pea spot on the cayenne, so I need to get some more cayenne peppers. Um, but yeah, Samantha says she's still fighting over. Oh my gosh, you're still fighting over your house. Look, girl, I feel you. I started writing. I thought I had answered your letter. I think I said that. Maybe. God Almighty. But I understand. I understand. And I understand going through it over a long period of time, Samantha. I don't know what kind of season we're in, but I mean, I've kind of been in that mode of like, God, where are you? That's um it's like I know you're here. That's the where I've been all year. All year. I know you're here. I'm not dead yet. So I know you're here. But where are you? Like I see you here, I see you there. You've kept me alive. It's like every little bit I can see you come through. But I'm looking, Samantha, and I know you probably are too. I know your situations. I mean, I'm not gonna, for the rest of y'all. I mean, that Samantha's been through it. Samantha has been through it this year, and y'all praying people lift her up, because I don't know how she's managed to go through what she's went through, and I feel the same. Um, That's why I wasn't even sure if I'd be back here. So that's where I've been too. So your cats defend your garden. See, mine will just lay in it. As a matter of fact, I lost one pepper plant because one of my cats just decided that was his laying place. I'm making my own dirt and using limbs from trees to raise them up, but it isn't happening all at once. Hey, I saw though, Critter Mama, I saw where like that is the best soil to do that. I've got some. I didn't even mean to make it, but I've got a pile of limbs that it's been like over a year that it was inadvertently. I've got a nice pile there. Um, you can make raised bed gardens with straw bales. Hey, y'all, if you're tuning in here for Disclosure Day, I do have something to say. All right. I got a lot to say, and we're going to look at some interesting things. But if you have never been here, I haven't been online. How long, y'all, has it been since I've done anything on this channel? Months. It's been a long time since I've done a live. So I'm kind of catching up. So give us just a minute to catch up. It's like somebody said, it's girls' night. It's a no makeup night. It's a I don't care what I look like night. We're catching up. We're going to talk about some really scary things. And if you're a guy, you're welcome here too. We're going to talk about some scary things that are coming up on Disclosure Day. But let's just talk. If you have some gardens, like this is my sanity right now. This is my sanity. Hey, fur baby daddy. You're chilling in the AC. Well, it's good to hear from you, fur baby. I know I haven't been in touch with anybody. I've been kept up with Samantha a little bit. We need to have a whole nother talk of just about gardening tips. Oh no. Samantha, I'm sorry about your cat, and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Critter Mama says, "Oh, the rice milk tincture. Hey, you know what? I have I just saw that this morning. I just saw a video on rice milk and how that works and how that. So, let me just ask you real quick before we get into disclosure. Um let me ask you, how long have you been using the rice milk, and has it been working? Is it like Itsy Miracle says feed your tomato plants brown sugar and water. Hey, that's a good idea. I also heard another mixture I heard was blackstrap molasses and some yeast, and wait, it was three things: molasses, yeast. Oh, dadgummit. I forgot the third ingredient, but they say it really makes the tomatoes grow. So I bet like brown sugar, blackstrap. Um, I'm not a big molasses person. Like, I know it's good for lots and lots of stuff. I don't like the taste of it. But hey, that's let's see. Build a raised garden over winter, put your coffee grounds in with your dirt. No ants. Wow. Cinnamon powder will repel ants and bees. I did. Hey, you know what, Samantha? Um I did put in that in my buckets when I first planted my plants. I also put pepper in there because that was to keep the cats out. I used to have to put them in my house plants all the time, like just black pepper, because the cats don't like the smell. So you put that in there, and then I put cinnamon in there also. Oh, no molasses because bugs will come for miles. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I guess that would. I guess. Well, they were saying mix the molasses with the yeast and something, and like water it with that, like mix it up in the soil. I don't know. I've never used it, but yeah, I don't want to think about that. Oh, hey there, Daniel Berry. Good to see you. Whoop whoop. Happy Saturday. Burning coffee grounds helps repel mosquitoes. Cool. I also planted a bunch of plants to help repel mosquitoes around my house. Smelly plants. Apparently they don't like, what is it? I've got lavender, basil, rosemary, marigolds. They hate marigolds. Um, some internet suggestions. I think they want people to fail. Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. Let me see. Silky, good to see you. Lita Joe, hey there. Um, uh, all right. Let's see. At Lita Joe. Okay. Um, all right, let's talk about have y'all heard about Disclosure? I'm not talking about the movie. That's gonna be something else. It is hot. I have a great cup here. Let me move it over. Have a killer day. um, before we get into that, mm, did y'all hear that? I was just gulping. Uh, have y'all been listening to? I don't know if y'all. I'm trying to stay away a little bit away from true crime. You know, I love true crime. I can't help myself. But I am I'm really fascinated with the Idaho 4 case right now. All the things that are coming out. If y'all have followed that at all, and I did right in the beginning. I couldn't decide whether to get to follow Idaho 4 or Delphi. Um I think either one would have been a disaster. I think Delphi was worse. Am I sorry? No. But I think either one of them was a disaster. But man, I there are tons of things I don't know. about the Idaho case because I was, over my head in Delphi. But some of the things that are coming out with the autopsy and some of the reports, and I have to say too, some of the way the family has been acting, I'm like, y'all, I got some questions. I got some questions. Critter Mama says, I don't think Idaho was one person. No, I don't. I didn't. I don't either. I don't think I ever did. Uh, and I always go back to what Koberger said when he first got arrested. He said, was anyone else arrested? Now, to me, that said volumes. Volumes. If you are, if you're guilty, you're you may say something, but it's not going to be that. Not was anybody else. You might start deflecting. Okay, you're going to start deflecting right away, but only if you're part of, or you're in cahoots with, or something about. Maybe even if you're just the driver, even if you just know about it. That, in my opinion, which, apparently isn't worth much, but in my opinion, that's one of the first things that you're going to say if there's other people involved is, was anybody else arrested? Meaning, am I the only one you caught? Am I the only one? Or did you get the others? Or the other one? Something like that, right? And he might not be. Gacy said the same thing. Interesting. You know, and here's the thing. We all say Gacy was in it alone, and he might have been. I mean, he was a very messed up person. I don't have a problem in this world believing that Gacy did it by himself. But, okay, as we know, things that are going on in the world, as we have looked at the e-files and all the things that we now know that have been in place for decades, all right? Decades back in the 70s, right? The 70s was Gacy. Back in the 70s, you also had Boys on the Tracks, right? You had the ring of substances being flown around. 70s was like a almost an identical case to Delphi, like really, really a lot of similarities. So you had that. Is it too much to think and to suppose that Gacy, messed up person? Is it too much to suppose that there was a ring of people then, perhaps lawmakers, perhaps people in public official places, as they are now, as we know from the e-files? Do we think that there could have been people, involved? Sure, I do. I do. I don't know that that's true. Okay. Could he have been a lone wolf doing all this stuff? Yeah, there have been a lot of weird people. Look at Ed Gein. Okay. He was out there wilding by himself out in Wisconsin. And I do think he was all by himself in his madness. Could Gacy have done the same? Sure, he could have. But it is a little bit harder in Chicago, in the neighborhood, all right, with the number of people that were under his floor. Okay. Is it possible? Sure. It's also, I think, in light of everything that we know now, equally possible for him to have been involved, maybe selling pictures, There was still those films, right? That was still going on. You got to have an income somehow, you know? Do I think there were other things going on? I mean, it seems a lot. It seems like a lot of effort, a lot of people for one person's madness. So there you go. That's just my That's just my take on it, you know. But that's just me. I just feel like now when we connect all the dots and we see everything, I feel like I have been under a rock my whole life, or at least a lot of it. And I feel like, yeah, well, this has probably been going around in circles for years and years, and there's always been more people involved, and that it's more likely not a lone wolf. Okay, but that's my opinion. We'll get to disclosure, I promise. Um, let's see what y'all are saying. Let's see. So that's why I think Gacy might have, you know. And I wonder again if Gacy was just because we know Gacy liked to play with the cops. Maybe he was just saying that. Maybe there was somebody involved. Hello, Lowlight. How you doing? Um, Phoenix. Hey, how are you? Let's see. Samantha says, "I don't believe Gacy was alone. I believe he was used as a dump spot." Oh, that's a good take. He could have been. I mean, it really was. It was kind of messy, right? Who's your daddy? Hello, hello. Phoenix says all of Chicago is MK Ultra. Guess where I was born? I was there for I was there for a few years till my 5th birthday, and then we moved to Alabama. Let me just tell you, some crazy things happened even back then. Before I moved, I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, that I didn't know that. So, Phoenix, that it was a big place for MK Ultra. I'm sure. It doesn't surprise me that it is, but it's also a very large place for some other very dark things as well. So why wouldn't it be? Interesting. Sunflower Lola, hello. How are you? Hope you're having a good evening. Samantha, this is just when you get old enough to think you understand the world, you realize everything is way different. Hey, I want to know this. How many of you in the last maybe year, 2 years, have realized that everything that you grew up, especially the older you are, okay? And I'm old, I'm ancient. The older that you are, the more you realize that everything that you ever learned was a lie, okay? And the younger that you are, you probably realized a lot that, but I think you're more skeptical. But those of us who are old as dirt, we have been coming to the realization in the last maybe 10 years, some of us only recently. I've known for a while, but man, even the last 2 years have been like, what? I'm I'm like, okay, you know what? I know nothing. Everything was a lie. Everything is a lie. And look, for the record, for you non-believers, I'm just gonna tell you the cornucopia was on Fruit of the Loom back in my world, back in the day. No matter what people say, it was. Let's say, let's say, you get my southern accent now. Let's see, where we at? I have to make this big because I'm not wearing glasses because my glasses look terrible. Thank you for the haircut. Look, the hair color was a mistake, but you know what? It's this is what it is. We're bright. We've always been red, but now we're like the color of the sun. And guess what? It's gonna be like that for a hot minute. You want to put some highlights in, and it all goes wrong. Let's see. Let's But thank you anyway. Um, yeah, Sandy, and we never even questioned it. Yeah, we didn't. We didn't. Who's your daddy says I lived in a library and had thousands of books at home growing up, but I know what you mean. I hardly learned a thing in school. Yeah. Yeah, and I was such a reader. Oh my god, I was such a reader when I was a kid. I was one of those ones that just like lived in the library. I can't imagine what I would have done if I had had the internet when I was, that young. Because I was the weird kid that checked out like 10 books at a time and walked home from school carrying all that crap. Um, at least it's not neon Easter egg pink. Oh Lord. Okay, we're gonna get into Disclosure Day. Now, I'm not talking about the movie, but I am talking about aliens. But this is not a movie review. No, it's not. But I found some things, and I know some of you have heard it. We're going to get into some Christian things. I know not everybody here is on the same page with that. I don't know, and I'm just going to tell y'all, I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my other channel. Okay. I've considered doing a lot. I'm sure that I have lost my monetization on this channel because I didn't do really anything with it last year. So I really have nothing to lose. But I think I'm just going to talk about subjects that really mean a lot to me. But this is an article that I found that really bothers me on many levels. Okay, on many levels, and you're going to see it's talking about the CA word, and I can't say it because I think YouTube is gonna like slap my hands on this one. But okay, let me see. I know you can't see that. Let me get there. I have no idea why I cannot make this big enough for y'all to see. This is a weird page. Okay. It's talking about the truth about, and it's the CA word, and I don't know why. But that's not what any of this is about, because it's talking about disclosure. Now, it's talking about President Trump posted on Truth Social on February 19th that he would direct the Secretary of War to identify and release government files. Blah, blah, blah. We know that he has released some of the UAP. It's got UAPs, UFOs. I think there was some that was released in the last couple of days. And here's the thing. I just can't. I just can't with this. I don't know what's true and what's not. On May 8th, the Department of War released the first. Hold on, I'm gonna have to put my glasses on because I really can't see. First, what is that trench of you? What is is trench? Oh, I guess that means a big bunch of. I'm illiterate here. UFO files. Yes, you read that correctly. The UFO files. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. It's to me, it's a distraction from the e files. Okay. Okay. Files about UFOs from a department that hasn't existed since 1947, the same year as Roswell, the same year that a modern UFO era began. Coincidence? No, it's not coincidence because he doesn't. Let me try to not be political here, okay? I think I'm trying not to alienate anybody, really. I'm trying not to be political, okay? Let me just make it clear. I don't trust either side. I don't like either side. I would actually call myself apolitical, okay? I hate them all of them. Um but I don't believe any of them. So, but let me just say this. I have been, as you know, if you watched my stuff a few months ago, whenever I was talking about the e-files, I am more than disgusted. Do I think this is just to distract us? Yes, of course I do. Because, in my opinion, there's nothing more important than the e-files. But let's, by all means, talk about aliens. And if it was just talking about aliens, I wouldn't be here. I really don't give a rat's hind end unless they're knocking at my door or tearing at my tomato garden. Okay? I don't care. Whatever. Come live here. Don't live here. Whatever. Just stay out of my way. And, whatever. Be useful. So what? I don't know. Okay. FBI Director Kash Patel has said Americans can expect more disclosures in the very near future, more files, more truth. Oh, really, Kash? Like we've seen the Epstein files? Okie dokie. Or will it be more carefully curated breadcrumbs designed to lead you exactly where they want you to go? I would say the latter. Government officials recently met with approximately 6 Christian leaders. Okay, this has happened a few months ago, okay? And I started to go live then, and I was kind of waiting to see what somebody would say. Because we've had like a couple of people say odd things. Like one of the Christian leaders, and let me just say this too. I am a Christian. I am very Christian. I'm like 100% sold out Christian. But I am not real big on church people, okay? I am not real big on televangelists or really most church people. I know it's an oxymoron, but there we go. Maybe I'm just a moron, but call me whatever. Just call me for dinner. It is what it is. The pastors were allegedly told to warn your people. Now, I've heard there was a whole like kind of mini scandal about this because at first people came out and said, "Oh yeah, they said this, blah blah blah." Like warn your people, and this is exactly what they told us. But at the end of the day, when they really started pressing, okay, what did they tell you? Apparently, it wasn't exactly what they said in the beginning. Like, what? It was very convoluted. Okay, did they say it? Did they not say it? Did you change your mind? Did they pay you off? What? What? Or are you just full of crap like you usually are? Again, I'm guessing the latter. Okay, the question: why do pastors need a heads up from the government about aliens? Think about it. If UFOs are real but harmless, why prepare pastors? Well, yeah. If they're fake, why prepare anyone? If they're demons, as the Vice President of the United States has suggested, well, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, let me ask you this. I'm fixing to go back into the comments. How many of you have you ever heard this? Ask you first question. Have you ever heard or heard anybody suggest that they are demons? Like I've heard a lot of people like they're all on the alien train, but nobody thinks they're demons. Good to see you, Lowlight. Let's see. Who's your daddy? Let me go back to what this is. Who's your daddy says the Anunnaki was one of the first civilizations, possibly extraterrestrial in origin. And a lot of people say that the Anunnaki, who's your daddy, are fallen angels. Has anybody heard that? I agree. I agree. The Vatican has been hiding history and other information from us since its inception. Absolutely. As the government, as everybody has. As everybody. I've heard a lot of people say that, though, Hoosier. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying they are or they aren't. I'm just saying I don't know. what I'm, you know, uh, let me go on here though. Okay. The Nephilim demon hypothesis. Buckle up. What if aliens aren't little green men from another galaxy, but the fallen ones instead, the Watchers? Now, I have heard a lot of people talk about the Watchers. I've never, as far as I know, I have never seen a alien. I've seen a lot of people that I would swear not really, like, what are you? But y'all know, we've all seen that, especially if you, especially if you come to the South, you're like, um, but and I have not. Some of you may have read the Book of Enoch. I have not read the Book of Enoch. I'm debating whether I want to or not. I kind of do, but I don't. I also don't want to confuse myself. Okay, it's still up in the air. I really don't have time to read anything right now, so it's really a moot point. But it's in the Ethiopian Bible. The Book of Enoch is also in the Catholic Bible in the additional books. There's a name for this. I know this. I know this. Half of my family on the other side is Catholic. I know that. I just forgot. There's a whole series of books that are is it the Apocrypha? I think it's called the Apocrypha. Those books are not in our Bible, but I believe they are in the Catholic Bible. Enoch's journey is filled with heavenly accounts, blah blah blah. God's throne room. I believe that if you don't know anything about the Book of Enoch, there are or anything in the Apocrypha, there are books that they say the church says, well, there is probably a lot of truth in them. They may be correct, they may not. They disagree with some things, but they say they don't consider them to be the inspired word of God, like infallible. Okay, so they're saying that it's not necessarily infallible. So they don't include them in the 66 books of the Bible that most people have. And then you're gonna say, well, what parts do they have problem with, and why they have a problem with? It's a whole, how people are. It's a whole nother thing. But it talks about a lot about fallen angels, and this is I don't even know what this is. This is something about.
Explain the nuttiness of the Book of Enoch to people.
Well, it's okay. So if you read it, it talks about the fall of angels, thus creating really the precursor of civilization that led to the first flood. I think that when you even go into potentially the technology that was given to mankind by these angels, it talks about the hidden beliefs and theories in astronomy, etc., metalworkings, all of it. But it really does explain, you were talking about earlier how you have a lot of these religions around the world that kind of say the same thing. This is kind of the OG text that leads to those stories that we're hearing from many religions around the world. To talk about angels mixing with mankind and then seeding a super essentially race of humans that essentially were responsible for basically damning mankind to the flood. I mean, you hear about stuff in.
If you're not familiar, let me stop there. When it talks about seeding another, like a hybrid group of people, it is because of the scripture that talks. Well, here it is, right here. It says Genesis 6:4 tells us the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, talking about during the flood, when the sons of God came to the daughters of men and bore children with them. Basically, in this, it talks about how the angels, the sons of God, which we would translate angels, they looked at the women and they're like, whoo, they thought they were really hot. They came down. They had children with them. And then that's why they say there were giants in the land. So, when you see reports of these people who have excavated these humongous skeletons, and then the skeletons disappear, they're like, oh, we got this huge thing, and then, the scientists, whatever, come in. They're like, oh, we want to study this, and then it disappears. Like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. There's been several. If you look into that, there's been several cases of that. And they say that there were giants. So they call them Nephilim, watchers, fallen angels. And some people believe that there are a class of these that are aliens. I don't know. I'm just telling y'all what they're saying. Enoch was Noah's great grandfather, in case y'all didn't know. I was going to say, yeah, so there you go. That's where it came from. And these guys were huge. And according to this picture, ugly. But yeah, the fallen angels were hybrids. And they are trapped here, stuck. They can't leave. They can't go to heaven. I guess they don't want to go to hell. I mean, who would blame them? But they are trapped here, and so they're trying to inhabit bodies because they don't have them. So this is what they're saying. Pull this back up here. So here's the question they don't want you to ask: is it possible that demons are actually disembodied spirits of the Nephilim running amok? Amok. Is it possible that they've been here the whole time, manipulating mankind through sorceries, forbidden technology, genetic tampering, and their hybrid offspring? Okay. In Matthew 34:37, it says, as in the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be the coming of the Son of Man. I mean, we can't get much more like the days of Noah, I guess. I mean, if you want to just go by things, I mean, not society, obviously. We're not technologically, but culturally, we're about the same. But I found this interesting. One current example includes the so-called Kandahar giant, an alleged 12 to 15 foot tall, red-haired, six-fingered humanoid, reportedly encountered and killed by U.S. Special Operations Forces in the mountain regions of Kandahar, Afghanistan in 2002. Did you hear that story? I didn't. According to the story, a patrol went missing and a response team found a cave entrance littered with military gear. Well, the giant, described as having 2 rows of teeth, wearing crude animal hide moccasins, and emitting a foul stench of decay, charged the soldiers with a large spear, fatally impaling a soldier named Dan. It reportedly took 30 seconds of concentrated automatic fire to bring the creature down. 30 seconds of fire? That's a long time, y'all. I mean, if you just time it out, like pew pew, that's a lot. Its body was airlifted away in a cargo net, and witnesses claim that they were ordered to sign an NDAs, okay? Non-disclosures. Years later, one witness came forward saying people have the right to know. A movie was made about the incident. I had no idea. Urban legend or the truth, you decide. Of course, Snopes dismissed the story, like Snopes dismisses everything that later proves to be true. If you remember some things that Snopes said in 2020, I'm not even going to talk about that, right? But I looked a lot of things up in 2020 from Snopes. I'm just going to tell you, Snopes got it wrong. Snopes is paid off. So, I'm sorry, because I can't, when I'm reading this, I can't see what y'all are saying. So let me go back for just a minute. Let me see what y'all is saying. Um, let me go way back. Okay. Yeah, let me go back to what Xanthi said. Yes, please be respectful of differing viewpoints. I'm trying to be respectful. I am. I'm trying. Tammy Fayette, hello. I'm Catholic, but I don't mind going to see this anyway. Okay. Um, Tammy Fayette, my whole family on my mom's side is Catholic. I was christened Catholic. Now later on in life, my mom, who was also a Catholic, she was raised Catholic. It was a whole story. My mom was a nun. Imagine that. That's a long, interesting story. But obviously, she did not stay in the convent. But she left. I came along. But I was raised Catholic for a while. And then she defected, not from God, but from, she did, she still has a great respect for the Catholic Church. So there you go. But all the family on her side are Catholic. Let's see. Who's your daddy? Yeah. The Apocrypha was not canonized into the Bible. Exactly. David Rogers, hello. How are you? Enoch was the father of Methuselah. Yes. I just let the crew know. Silky is like, well, thank you. Aw, David, thank you. I keep forgetting that I can highlight stuff because guess what? I haven't done this in so long. I just forget. Let me highlight some stuff for y'all. I just got out of the habit. Critter Mama says Smithsonian has hidden most of what's been found. You're right. Exactly. As a lot of people have, a lot of stuff has been hidden. Okay, so here's your daddy says Nephilim comes from the Hebrew Bible and were considered mysterious beings and being abnormally large. Yes. David says Kandahar giants. I know, right? I didn't know anything about Kandahar giants. Who knew? I didn't hear any of that. That was all new to me. Okay, so let's see. Now, let me go back and let me tell you this, okay? Let's talk for just a second. We talked about the pastors. I know, I've made everybody mad. Half my people left. I've made everybody mad about one thing or another tonight already. Yay, me. Either they don't like the subject or they don't like my opinion. Well, okay. Here's the thing. The pastors that yeah, David, that's what this article that I'm reading was, that we're not on looking at right now, but that's what they were talking about. I did not see, like, I didn't know when they were in the Gulf. I had no idea. I never heard that they had unalived one in Kandahar. I mean, not that I expected anybody to tell the truth, but even on the I don't know, not the dark web. I don't go on there, but not even on the whatever, on the back pages of the internet, so to speak. I still didn't know that. Maybe I did. Maybe I thought it was. Maybe I just thought it was fake news. I don't know, but I did not take it seriously because there's a lot of things. But yeah, apparently that was a thing. So what they supposedly told these pastors, just so we're clear, is when the news came down a couple of months ago, what they told the pastors, or what was assumed or implied, was that the aliens were going to come down and disclose that they were actually the creators of our earth, our world. They were our creators. And we only have different religions because it was their idea. Okay, they created the different religions. There was a purpose, there was a method to this madness, and there were reasons. And that's why there's Buddhists, and that's why there's Jews and Gentiles, and like everything that you can think of. Okay, it was all their divine, their alien, whatever. I don't say divine, but their plan. Okay, the aliens are our creators, our gods, so to speak. That is the disclosure that supposedly that is what they were going to disclose to us. And so they wanted the pastors to be prepared and ready, because the congregations were going to be it flooded with people. Their congregations were going to be horrified, and what do I do? Is this true? And what are the pastors going to say? And rebellion, and probably people giving up on faith, and doing what panicky people do, which is panic and act stupid. And don't tell me that's not what people do, because we all know that's what people do. And that's why, even in the medical field, when there is an outbreak, and we know that there's an outbreak, and we know that there's something serious going on, we don't go and tell people. We don't make big announcements, because we know people are stupid, and they panic, and they do very stupid things. So everything is on the down low. I came across a situation just a week or so ago, and I expected there to be an announcement. It's not unexpected, but it kind of is. It's just like, oh, hey y'all, heads up, be aware. We had kind of a knowledge this was coming. So but actually nobody said anything, which I felt like was probably not the best idea. But I mean, again, people have made announcements and said, hey, y'all, be on the lookout for, as we're always on the lookout for something. So but that's just what people do. That was, if you saw the blur, that was Sachi. So just like that, they don't want people to panic, so they're telling the pastors, whatever. They expect people to panic, so they wanted them to have the answers ready. Whatever you're going to tell your people, whatever, just let them know right now. Heads up, this is what the aliens are. This is the truth. I don't know if the government's going to say this is what they're saying, or the government is going to say this is the truth. You are just an alien child. And then there's the, on my other channel, we saw some of the scientists, and they're talking about the different classes of aliens, and the aliens are really us from the future. I'm like, Well, if you see some of the makeovers in Hollywood right now, it's like they're trying to look like aliens. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with y'all people. Y'all have all lost your minds. But whatever. I'll keep a little bit of meat on my body. I do not want to look like that. Thank you. Not that anybody cares, but that's me. All right, let me go back to what you're saying. Samantha says, "Oh, many Native American tribes speak of redheaded and cannibal giants." Well, now I am not a giant, so I am, and nor do I have 6 fingers. So there you go. You can count them right here. I am a very short person, and I'm not a cannibal. I am very much a carnivore, though. So there's that. So then David says there's a lot of other chicanery like that happened around that time. Really? Stargate? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that I feel has been happening that we had no idea. Let's see. Christina, hello. It's going to make everyone freak out. Yes, I think it is. I'm actually very concerned, Christina, about people who don't have a good foundation, who don't really know what they believe, and they're just going to say, "Oh, well, the aliens explained it," and they have a whole, not just did they explain it, but this makes so much sense. They made the different religions because of this and that and the other. And now they want us all to be in unity, and they want us to know that they are our Father. Earth, I am your Father. No. No. Please. Not my Father. Okay. Let's see. The aliens as our creators will rock some religious entities. Yes. They may. And that's the thing. That's what's sad. I feel for those people who are just religious for, and unfortunately, I think this is a lot of people. I was talking to someone about this within the last 2 weeks, and I feel like that a lot of people are church members because it is socially correct. I mean, in our social circles, especially in small towns, okay? Maybe not so much in the city because, who really cares if you're, but in small towns, especially in the South, this is a question. When you're new, especially if you're new in town, but if you meet somebody, if you're a newbie, you just met here, look, you're gonna get at least 30 invites to people's churches, okay? Just be prepared for it. If you are somebody that they look like, it looks like they want you in their church, like you've opened a business, or you're somebody, you've got an executive job, and you just moved here from another state, they're gonna work around into inviting you to their church. I can guarantee you. It's going to happen. Now, a lot of people are just nice, and they just want you to feel included. They want you to be in their little group. And it's genuinely felt, okay? For some people, it is a genuine thing. For other people, it's just a way of being in I don't know how to say it. You got to be part of the group, okay? You got to be part of the group that fits in. You have to fit the mold, okay? Especially in the South. Can't be a heathen. Don't be a heathen and go. If you don't go to church, you're a heathen, okay? It don't matter what's in your heart. It doesn't matter what you do on the side, what you watch on the internet, what kind of secret sins you have. If you go to church, you're not a heathen, but you can be. And I'm not saying this is true, okay? Please don't hear me. This is what I'm saying. The mentality is, if you go to church, you're one of the good ones. It's like somebody I work with said, because she's new to corrections, and she said it's never the ones that are tattooed. It's never the ones that have the tattoos all over their faces and all this stuff. She said it's the ones, the bad ones are the ones that look so nice. The ones that are in a certain, they're the chomos. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They sure are. They're the ones with no tattoos. They're the ones that are wearing the button-down shirts. They're the ones that are in your teaching your Sunday school classes. All right, got a bunch of them in there. Had a bunch of them in there. They're the ones who are in the business leaders, the public figures. Okay, it's the same way. You hide your sins by being part of this group. That's for a lot of people. And then for a lot of people, it's just, okay, I am going to be part of this social group in this town or whatever. Sometimes it's very prestigious. You get to know, it's like networking. It's networking. You get to know these other people. They're important. They go to the big church on the corner. How better than to get to know somebody that you would be a great business contact than you in their Sunday school class. My. For a lot of people, that's all it is. Okay. So it doesn't matter if they're worshiping Jesus or an alien. They don't care. At the end of the day, are you going to get to keep socializing? Is church going to keep going on? Is it going to be an alien up there? That's okay. I feel like that's not going to change. Some people are going to find it devastating. They're going to be like, what, everything that I believed is not true, and they're going to completely give up faith, and they're going to be convinced because remember, there's a scripture that also talks about if it says that if God were to tarry, if he didn't, like, if he let things go on and on, that even the elect would be deceived. Okay, because it's going to look good, y'all. It's going to sound great. There's going to be evidence. Let's see. The little Irish people have little people stories. Yeah, I'm a lot more like the little people. I actually have a little bit Irish in me. Let's see. Oh, y'all are talking about some interesting things, the Indian mounds and the Pukwudgies. If the aliens were so concerned about creation disclosure, why wait until now? Good question. That is a good question. For baby daddy says something that the aliens didn't create themselves. Yeah, no, they didn't. Yeah, so there you go. So what's that about? Hello, Christine. I'm Catholic and I go to Mass because I find comfort in the ritual of the Mass. I feel at peace when I walk in the chapel, and when I leave, I feel like I've done something good for my soul. I understand that. I do. I have gone to Mass, or my grandparents are both passed away now, but I used to, even as a Christian person, as a Protestant, I still went to Mass with them. As a teenager, not every Sunday, but from time to time, I did. There is a lot of peace in some of those places. Not all of them. I've been to some that I'm not sure what's going on in here, but I know what you're talking about. There is a lot of there is something about it that is there's beauty in the simplicity. I think that's what when I would go to mass with my grandmother, I felt like some of the messages, there was such a beauty in the peace and simplicity of what the priest said. It wasn't, nobody was screaming at me, yelling at me, jumping up and down. It was a beautiful, thoughtful, um, peaceful thing. So I get what you're saying. I do. I really do. And here's the thing. I feel like we find God in different ways depending on, I think he is so personal. He's different for all of us. Still the same person. But think about this. I think about so many things. But you know how you have that one friend that like y'all just can't help but being silly together. I don't know, men might not understand this, but you have other things like maybe you're sports related, and then but with one, but like for some people, we have that friend that we're just so silly with. I mean, it's just so easy to cut up. Um, we find you just find yourself being more kid like. And then you have another friend, like you love them to death, like they're great. It's a friendship that's very needed, but you end up really talking about more serious parts of your life and seeking advice and giving advice. You know what I'm saying? You have friends that mean so much, but it's so different. Your relationship with this one is just crazy fun and you love them, but when you really need something serious, it's not that that person isn't capable. It's just you have a completely different relationship with your other friend, right? And you might have 4 or 5 different friends. They all are so different, and sometimes your friends can't even get along, but they all feel those parts of you that are very needed. Like, and I know I felt like with myself, I'm like, I am so different with this friend than I am with this one. Like, they probably wouldn't even recognize me, right? If they walked in on a conversation with friend A and then I went to friend B, they'd be like, I don't even know who this is. Well, I feel like it's the same way with our spiritual walk and with God. He is so personal that, for some people, it's that quiet peace that is so needed, and that's how you are reached. And for somebody else, it's all about the fiery and it's the challenge, it's the get up and do, and it's just different. It's different, and I think it's important, and I think that's why it is exactly that, personal, and he is personal God. Aliens aren't going to be personal. Come on. Okay. From the 3021, you covered Epstein then disappeared. It was a little concerning. I prayed you were abducted by aliens. Another planet seems like the only safe place to be in today's environment. I agree. I didn't quit talking about Epstein because I didn't believe in it. Basically, I've had a series of things. Okay, just so you know, I've had a very, very personal attack. It had nothing to do with Epstein. For the past year, I've been fighting for my life. Has nothing, for y'all who wonder, it had nothing to do with Delphi or anything like that. That I know of. Had a very, very personal, from different people. There were days I was literally fighting for my life. Strangely enough, it's not my presence here on the internet that make people want to kill me. There are many other reasons. And so I've been fighting off a ton of not really health problems, not in the way like it's been one thing after another, okay? Survivable things, but just one thing after another. Camera equipment. I have another channel that I've just almost given up on because my camera equipment is so bad. Like it's doing weird stuff that I can't even make things work anymore. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how it's working tonight. I just took a chance on this channel. It's been a year. It's been a year of insanity, kind of being hit every which way that I can be hit, and then, but at the end of the day, I'm still standing, and I've watched other people fade, fall away. They're not standing. Some of them are, just out of my presence, okay, out of my sphere. It's been insane. Like when I think of the things, and here's the thing, I don't understand why. I'm like, what is it? What do you want in my life? What is so wonderful that you want? What do you want from me? I don't know. But yeah. So that's where I've been. I was talking about the Epstein files. It was depressing, but I meant to keep going, and then I just I physically couldn't. A lot of days I started working. That was another thing. I've been working right during that time. I started working. I don't know, in my 2-week period of being paychecks. I was working 100 and something hours, and literally on my time off, I would be getting calls, and I would be so exhausted. I just couldn't. And I still have a life, I still have things I have to do. I still have to go to the grocery store. I still have to do the laundry. I still have to, do the stuff. And I would come home from work and be so exhausted. I would literally feed the dog and the cat and fall asleep on the couch because I just couldn't do anything anymore. So there you go. And I don't know where we go from here. And then I think, well, does it even matter? Nobody cares. Nobody's listening. And now we're talking about, I'm looking at the news and I'm watching these other countries prosecute people who were involved. And I'm watching the United States do nothing. And I'm thinking, so what has to happen? Let's have a war. Let's talk about aliens. Let's release the alien files. Let's do whatever we got to do to not look at this very, very important thing. Let's do everything we can not to look at the e-files. I don't give a rat's hind end about anything except the e-files. I said it before and I'll say it again. I don't care. Don't care what's going on. I don't care what Iran is doing. I don't care. I don't care anything about AI. I don't care about. Okay, I do care about the data centers. I will fight with that. But as far as how much money you're making with technology, how much, whatever BS crap is going on in the government, I don't care. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of these bills, big, beautiful, or big, bad, ugly. I don't care. I don't care about the other countries. I don't. What I care about is the truth coming out in the e-files. And I care about people being prosecuted. That's what I care about. I think a lot of people care about that. I don't care also who is involved from the very top to the very least. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't care if you're an alien. I don't care who you are. Nobody's above the law. You think you are. And all I've got to say is this. As I have wept many, many times, I've cried until I have just about have no tears left. I have to remember that no matter what happens here, all of these pieces of crap will, on one side of the sun, one side of life and death, they will face judgment. And I know it's hard to believe, but that judgment, I have 100% faith that judgment will be just. And no matter how bad I think I would judge, like the worst possible thing I can imagine would happen to these people. But as bad as I could make it, it is going to be 1,000 million times worse than even I can imagine when the judgment comes from the final judge. And to me, I'm still mad about it. I'm still willing to fight on this side of life and death. Absolutely. But I still have that. And I don't want to hear about anything else that's going on in the world. It does not interest me. You tell me about the e-files. You tell me when somebody's getting arrested. You tell me about that. You tell me when somebody's going down. I want to see justice. So, yeah. And I feel like it. I feel honestly, I feel like an alien for saying that, because what I've heard from everyone I know. Well, what are we going to do about it? Well, nobody's going to. Well, this. Well, that. Well, nothing's going to be done. Well, it's not, as long as we just give up. It's certainly not. Let me see what y'all are saying. Okay. Yes, I care about the quality of our water as well. I'm going to put this one word up here. I can't say it, but there you go. I feel you. All right, so let's go back to everything that they're saying. Let me go back to at every time. Okay. Let's see what it says. Okay, blah 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 blah. Let's see. There we go. Where am I at here? Okay, they're talking about the thing that it took them 30 seconds to unalive with a gunfire. Okay, so they're saying Snopes said it was a lie. Of course they did. Okay. Now, okay. So they go back to a reference talking about this thing and this disclosure. They remind back in Luke 21:11 that Jesus says that there would be, great earthquakes, famines, pestilence. We've seen all this. But he uses the thing fearful sights. And I thought this was interesting. The Greek word is phobitron or phobitron. Let's see where I'm not great on Greek, y'all. I barely speak Southern. Okay, but it's translated fearful sights or dreadful sights. I've seen a lot of dreadful sights. Okay. Phobitron was the ancient Greek word for monsters. So basically, what Jesus was saying is that monsters would appear from the skies. That's pretty weird. So, I mean, would we say those are aliens? What we call aliens? Demons, monsters, aliens from the sky? I mean, what we've seen, what they portrayed is coming from the skies with aliens, if that is, what aliens actually look like. I mean, I've not seen one, so I couldn't say 100%, but people who have said, there's these little skinny things with the big eyes. That looks like a monster to me. I'm not kidding. That's horrifying. Let's see. So they're going to they're talking about the giants and the Book of Enoch. All right, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. Oh, this is interesting. They're talking about the females, the males. The male Nephilim came down and had relations and with the women, and the babies became giants. And it says, now the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. Okay. So, when we hear, I haven't seen, my goodness, I haven't seen that translated that way, but all of the dark tales that we've heard about, not the pretty mermaids, but the dark tales of the sirens, where they're really horrifying looking. I don't know. Now I will tell you this. I have a friend. Look, she is 100% sane. 100% with it. She she back a long time ago. This is decades ago. She married an evangelist from, I can't remember where he's from, but he was an evangelist to Africa. So they went to Africa a lot. He went ever so many months or whatever. And she went with him a few times. And, we were roommates, like long before when we lived in North Carolina, we were roommates. And then she moved to Florida. And then I moved to Alabama. And so she met him, they got married. And so I know how sane she is, okay? Like, this isn't somebody who's just, flights of fancy and all this kind of stuff. She's very grounded. So she came to visit me one time, and we were talking about, she said, like most missionaries to Africa have always said the same thing to me. Like, there are so many miracles. Like, there's so much that happens in Africa that is unbelievable to people in the States. But, so we're talking, and, when we had been roommates, one of the favorite movies, I guess, that we liked a lot of Disney stuff. One of our favorite things were like The Little Mermaid. And she said, that show, that Little Mermaid, she says, that's a demon. And well, since then, I did become aware that, in my Bible studies, that Dagon was half man and half fish. So I wasn't surprised when she said that. I was like, yeah, I said, I kind of learned that like much years later. And she said, no, I'm serious. She said, they're in Africa. I'm like, what? Like, you've seen it? She said, oh yeah. She says, they're real and they're in Africa. And I mean, she really just like said that and then just kept on talking about whatever she was talking about. And I never really got to have the in-depth conversation with her about that. It was insane, though. Um, and I know that she's not like she's such a practical person. Even with miracles, she had miracles happen when she lived in New York City. It was crazy. But I mean, so miracles were commonplace to her. And it wasn't that big of a deal. And I'm just sitting here thinking, you've seen mermaid? Like, what? I've heard someone else say that they are in even shallow bodies of water, like even smaller versions, and that they're demonic, and that they are even in what we would call shallow mud puddles. And I don't mean like little tiny ones, but they have like, I guess, big craters that are mud puddles in the roads or stuff. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like, okie dokie. Well, uh, there you go. But I do know that I do know that I've heard many people talk about. No, she's not the only one, but I do know her personally. So I've heard many people talk about the mermaids in Africa and along the coast of other places. So what do y'all think? Are they fallen angels? I don't know. Let's see if there's. Let me look real quick and see if there's anything else. But yeah, uh, that's I was watching some. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about this. I did this on my other channel, and I was watching something today too, y'all. This is wild. But I'm going to add this real quick. I've started covering on my other channel. I was just doing spooky stories, but now I've been doing kind of watching some weird TikToks. Some of them are conspiracy stuff. I might do it on here if y'all want to see it. But, or maybe I'll just throw some of those onto here. What do y'all think about that? It's weird, but there were scientists. We'll read a little bit about this. And one of them is some of them are from Huntsville. If you don't know, I don't live in Huntsville, okay? But I am in North Alabama. And I do, not that often, but I don't know, probably every once in a while I go to Huntsville because I'm rural and most everything I need, like our area is really growing up a lot. So it's not that often that I feel the need to venture out. But if I need to go to a big city, I have to go to Huntsville. And it's a decent drive away. But I go every once in a while. So I'm very familiar with it. And when they talk about, when Trump said somewhere in this last year, when he said he was moving all the FBI and all this other stuff to Huntsville, I'm like, what? What? Okay, wait a second. I always thought that we were safe because, who cares about Alabama? Nobody. But apparently, there's a lot of stuff going on in Alabama. Now, it is the home of the Space and Rocket Center and Redstone Arsenal. So, but I always felt like in a war, like who really would be way down on the list of places that they would hit because again, it's Alabama. Who cares? But apparently it is not as safe as I thought. So within the last month or two, there has been all of these videos and all of this stuff coming out, like all these people. These scientists have been disappearing over the last couple of years, but nobody was talking about it. Several of them have disappeared from Huntsville. Some of them were studying things like zero gravity. Some of them were basically they were inventing. Maybe not inventing is the right word because it actually has been proven before, but things that were just insanely useful that would put big corporations out of jobs, okay? If you have 0 point gravity and then they also had like free electricity, what do we need General Electric for, right? There's a lot of companies that we wouldn't need. And so, of course, they don't want you like spreading that news around. So, one of these scientists came up missing, and she had been talking about the aliens. So we're going to look at some of this because this has been, if you look at it, Google it, YouTube it, you will find they'll list out that now there's been like 13, 14, I don't know, something scientists. Now that they're adding it up and they're looking at it, they're like, oh, I see. All these people have come up missing. Why? By George. Look at this. So let's look at it. This all has to be with disclosure. Okay, since 2023, which is not that long ago, y'all, at least 15 scientists, engineers, and military minds tied to the U.S. nuclear and aerospace research have mysteriously died, vanished, or been unalived. Yeah. CNN reported it. The FBI is investigating. Well, we know how long it takes the FBI to investigate something. The House Oversight Committee calls it a national security threat. But, also we're kind of busy over in Iran and then, whatever crap they throw out after that. People have been assaulted outside their homes. We'll just say that, I guess. I don't know if I can say that word. Vanished during hikes. They committed a self-unaliving right before testifying in UFO whistleblower cases. One man passed away in his sleep after agreeing to speak to Congress. Another disappeared without a trace. The cases span MIT, NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, Los Alamos, and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Here are a few more. Matthew Sullivan, an Air Force intelligence officer, passed away before testifying in a UFO case. The official cause, an accidental overdose. Nuno Luriero, I hope I said that right. He was the MIT fusion physicist. He was pew-pewed at home. Carl Grillmer, he was a Caltech astrophysicist, also pew-pewed at home. Monica Risa, NASA JPL engineer, vanished on a hike. I bet the aliens got her. Anthony Chavez and Melissa Cassius, Los Alamos, both went missing within weeks. William Neil McCaslin went missing and left behind his phone, glasses, and wearable devices because nobody takes those with them when they go somewhere. James Moffat, military, NASA, and his son Andrew, who was a propulsion engineer, both unalived under suspicious circumstances. So let's watch a little bit of this.
Police are searching for a retired Air Force general who vanished in New Mexico. William McCaslin went missing last month.
Okay, I just wanted to show you their pictures. I will get dinged for that. I can't afford that. Okay, so we're talking about 15 people working on fusion energy, exoplanet discovery, and classified aerospace tech. The official line is always the same. Accidents. Well, we know what happens, especially if you are in Indiana, right? If you're around Carroll County, there's a lot of accidents, health issues, unrelated tragedies. Oh, the one thing they don't have on here that Delphi has, Delphi needs to give them like a little heads up. Try fires. That's always a good one. Fires. So here's a question. Just a question, just an idea. What if they weren't random? What if these scientists were unalived because they knew the truth about the UFO files, the UAP cover-up, and the coming invasion? What if they could have debunked the government's soon-to-be official story? We'll never know, will we? So here is a picture of some of these people. Now, I believe this one over here on the right, I believe that is the one that was from Huntsville. She, oh my gosh, what is her name? I did a story about her on my other channel. She did several videos. If you'll just look up the NASA scientist that disappeared from Huntsville, you'll find her and her videos. She talks a lot about the P-42s and the P-57s or something. It's supposed to be us, where we went underground, like us from the future. We went underground. We became these funky looking little aliens that we see now, the grays and all this. I'm like, oh, just say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I need some sun. All right. Okay, but before you think this is all just recent history, let's talk about a man who tried to warn us over 30 years ago and also ended up. Phil Schneider was a high-level credentialed engineer who helped build things that weren't supposed to exist. In 1979, he was working on a secret underground base in Dulce, New Mexico. Then things got weird. According to Phil, he witnessed a battle with a subterranean gray alien that left 60 humans unalived. He was injured, burned hand, missing fingers from an alien weapon. But it's one of those things like we saw in Men in Black. That's just my guess. Schneider claimed the U.S. government had made a deal with these beings, technology in exchange for the right to abduct humans. And the aliens' long-term plan? Reduce the human population by over half by 2029. Well, look, that's only a couple of years away. That hasn't happened. Phil made one thing crystal clear during his lectures. He was not in a mind frame to take his own life. Okay. He said it repeatedly. He said it forcefully. He said it knowing people who say such things often end up, In 1996, Phil was found unalive in his apartment. Official ruling, suicide by using a rubber surgical tube. Let's pause and let that sink in. A man with missing fingers and low flexibility. I just realized that. I've heard about this, but he didn't have fingers. Yeah, but he didn't have a whole lot of flexibility. He did this to himself with a rubber tube. And you're like, yeah, you have to be real creative. I don't know which fingers were missing, but that would be a challenge. No matter what hand, no matter what fingers. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Schneider described a battle with the gray aliens, but then came 2026. It was in a widely discussed episode of the Sean Ryan Show released in early March 2026. A prominent Catholic exorcist, Father Chad Ripperger, addressed the connection between reported gray alien encounters and demonic activity. Ripperger, I hope I'm saying that right. A well-known traditionalist priest and exorcist, not a guy who chases trends or seeks the spotlight, stated that multiple exorcists he has consulted reported something chilling. During exorcism sessions, demons manifested physically as classic gray aliens. Gray skin, large black eyes, small mouths. Multiple reports. Not as medieval demons with horns and hooves. Not as abstract evil energy, as gray aliens. So were the medieval people wrong about the demons, what they look like? Or have they just morphed, Or are they just like shape-shifting into something else? The same beings that pop culture has normalized for 70 years. The same beings that rural housewives in Kentucky and tribal elders in Botswana and truck drivers in rural Australia describe, down to the skin color, the eye shape, and the small mouth. No collaboration, no shared script, just the same aliens independently witnessed on every continent. So there you go. Look. These little gray things, we just make them a little bit taller. This is like our new our new fashion trends. Have y'all seen these people in Hollywood like looking at like the what's up with this? What is the walking skeleton? I'm just saying. Ain't nobody wants to look like that. And all these people in the comments and all these people say, "Oh, she looks so great." No, she don't. She don't. Quit lying. Quit lying to them people. Quit lying to that woman. She looks like death. That's what she looks like. Quit lying to her. Okay, so now Project Bluebeam. Let's talk about that, and then I think we're gonna wind up here. Project Bluebeam. If you haven't heard it, you remember Carol Stanhope, who has been on here and in the chat, and I've also done multiple shows with Carol, who is who is MK Ultra survivor. Carol talks about Project Bluebeam a lot and how I think she's even said she's experienced some stuff where she is now in Florida. I'm not going to tell where she is in Florida, but she did tell me one time that she's seen some evidence that it's working there. Project Bluebeam is basically where they can project stuff to make you believe something is happening that is not happening. It's far more than just like looking at a film, but I don't know how to describe it. Let's say if they okay, it says think IMAX on steroids. Think the Super Bowl halftime show, but for the entire planet. Holograms, telepathic mind control. That's science fiction. Okay. Basically, it's like they can make you think that with the way that they can manipulate, it's not really holographic. Like they can make it look real, feel, sound, whatever, that there are, whatever. Let's just say that they make you think aliens or that zombies are coming up your driveway and punching holes in your house and through your door. They make it look, sound, smell, taste, whatever, real. It is all an illusion. But Project Bluebeam, it could be in the sky. And we don't even know how real Project Bluebeam is now, because what we've seen in the past, like little evidences of it, have been very good, but we don't even know the reality. I remember seeing like almost 2 decades ago. Well, it has been 2 decades almost. That where over, I want to tell you, it was in Japan. There was like a big void space that people woke up and all of a sudden there was a city over there, like a city, like traffic lights, all kind of stuff, and people were walking around going, what where did this place come from? They literally thought like there was a real city over there because it was so real. It looked like it was just across the bridge, like just over. It was all a lie. I guess it was weird. I saw pictures of it. It was very convincing. Now, this, according to some, is the 4-stage plan. Okay. The first thing they do is they deconstruct your faith by, they're going to have, this is what they think: fake scrolls, fake forged artifacts, proof the Bible is a lie, that Jesus never existed, whatever. They're going to come up with some stuff, right? Lost gospels, whatever, scientific proof. And then we have the space show. This is what they're thinking. That there's going to be Project Bluebeam, holograms, deep fakes, all kind of stuff. Now, this is where I haven't heard a lot. Telepathic mind control. This is where Monist, this guy that's doing this plan, he sounded like really crazy. He claimed that satellites, microwaves, and electromagnetic frequencies. I'm just going to say EMF. Y'all should know, or you probably know what those are. EMF frequencies would beam thoughts directly into people's brain, making them believe they were receiving divine communication. They would trust the voice because it felt real. It feels holy, and they will obey. That is really scary, okay? That's really scary. There are patents I have seen. If you ever go through piles of CIA crap that they have released, I have seen paperwork on this, like from years and years ago. It is insane where they were trying this, where this was a real thing. Yeah, there are patents on technology used. Let me see where this says. It asks the question, why are there patents on technology to use electronic waves to influence thoughts? Yeah, because I have seen those. I have seen those patents. It's insane, y'all. So yeah, what would you do if you had this, like, that's why it's so important, y'all. It's so important to know the difference. It's so important. The staged alien invasion. This is the grand finale. So after they already destabilize you and you're hearing this from God, and you already found out that, according to whatever discoveries that they have, that all of this religion was fake, then they have a fake alien invasion. And the aliens are taking over, you're terrified, and then, okay, just when all hope seems lost, a savior appears. He stops the invasion, he saves the world, he speaks to every person on every device. Do not listen to the old prophets, do not trust the old scriptures, listen to me instead. I am your new voice. What? Okay, y'all, if you know anything about the scriptures, first of all, God says, I don't change. No, that's the first thing. That's the first major red flag. It's not God. Okay, he says, I don't change. I don't change. Like, my word's going to stand forever. Okay. Then the world bows. They take the mark. They accept the new world order, not because they wanted it, because they were terrified into it. Okay, this is the way this guy sees it happening. All right. I don't know. But is it going to happen this way? I don't know. But what I do know is that the disclosure they're talking about is real. Let me just get back on here now. Disclosure is real. What they're talking about with aliens is real. Okay. They keep saying we're leading up to something. All right. Now, are they disclosing the alien files because they want to distract us from the Epstein files? Of course they are. Of course they are. But I feel like it is leading up to something. We all know that by 2030, they want to have us in our little 15-minute cities, and we already know. Okay. Is it going to happen like this? I don't know. But what I am saying is they've got something planned. And it is a real fact that they have actually called out pastors and said, hey, there's something coming down the pike, and you heads up to your people. It's very convoluted what they said, because, like I said, one person said this, another person said that, then they're like, no, they really didn't say that. I don't know what they said. All right, let me go back to what y'all are saying. Going back to the mermaids. Winter Woman. Hey, Winter Woman. I've heard the same stories about mermaids in Africa. Yeah, see? Yeah. David Rogers, Huntsville is getting tons of attention in the form of the biolab. Yes. Yes. Oh, there's another one. Linda Moulton Howe, missing in action. Okay. Okay. I didn't know they had found somebody. Critter Mama. I am not really. I haven't really heard about that, but I'm not surprised. Sorry, I got distracted by another comment. Yeah, because every time, Hoosier, that somebody finds something that invents something or finds something that's really helpful for the masses, they disappear. What about the guy who was with the gasoline? Remember, he's gone, missing, and he knew. I mean, I hope he's in hiding somewhere. I really do. Okay, Phil Schneider. I need to do a show about him. Yeah, we just read some stuff. I will have to. I'll look that up. Okay. Maybe I'll need to learn exorcism. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I'm exorcism used to be. Do you? Back in the olden days, but it's true. Back when I was a little girl in church, like exorcisms were part of regular church. It's like it wasn't a big deal. It just happened, just like anything else, just like baptisms. People were baptized, people were exorcised. It just like people would manifest in church and you just knew. And I mean, it was pretty obvious when somebody was possessed, and I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It probably should have been a bigger deal. Now, knowing what I know now, they should have. I've seen some exorcisms that should have really been handled differently, but it didn't really matter. They just got exercised right there in front of God and everybody. Okay, rolling in the floor. It was crazy. It was crazy times back then. Okay, Schneider's father was a Nazi officer who came over in Operation Paperclip. I do know that Werner von Braun did because I knew a guy that worked under him. Well, I mean, I knew his kids. Okay, knew his kids, and yeah, you know, we were also innocent back then. We just assumed that von Braun didn't do anything that terrible, right? Because why would they let him? Why would they let him come over here if he had done horrible things in the war, right? Supposedly LBJ made a deal with the aliens for technology. Possibly. Oh, Eisenhower. Oh, okay. Eisenhower. Okay. Okay. Ninja Warrior. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. False memories. Yeah. Catch up. Yes, psych medicines can cause a lot of stuff. False memories. Let's see. All right. So what do y'all think? Put it in the comments. What do you think? The invasion. Do you or disclosure? Tell me. I want to hear your thoughts. I really want to hear. Do you think it's? mean, do you think it's just a distraction? Do you feel like, is it just a distraction from the e-files? Are they really going to disclose anything? Is it really like this? They're trying to like wreck us, our religion. I mean, but I will say this. I do feel like if you want a new world order and you want an agenda and you want a one world religion, you're not going to get that unless you break down religion, okay? You're never going to agree. The Baptists and the Buddhists are never going to agree. Ever. Ever. They're not going to agree on the same things at all. Unless you can make them believe that aliens are their daddy or something, that they have to have a common God. They do. That's the only way it's going to work. They're never going to just say, oh, okay, we'll all be happy and we'll go to the same church. It ain't going to happen, y'all. So, from that perspective, I would say you would have to. That's the only way. You're all going to have to get them on the same page, believing the same thing. And in my opinion, that's the only way they are. I think it's definitely a distraction. Definitely. And then the second thing I want you to comment about, I have so many things that I want to talk about. I thought about doing another channel that's just a faith-based channel. I've got a Substack that I started. I've only done like 2 posts on it, like last week. It is a faith-based. I've got a Substack that's Lizzie Borden. I haven't really done a whole lot with that. I'm trying to compartmentalize some of my brain goes so many directions. I love true crime. Like I said, I'm still very interested in some cases, but the bottom line is I feel like my time is so limited. Yes, do I read things? Do I think about things that are entertaining, important? Like, yeah, there's a ton of things to talk about, but what really is important? I don't know. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want to talk about? Because I don't like, a lot of people prepare a lot for shows, for live streams. I don't. It is so easy for me to get on here and just run my trap. Find something to talk about. And especially when y'all show up, I've always said I have the best people in the world because you make it so easy for me you're so smart. You bring so much to the table. You always have. And you make it so easy for me to like talk about stuff. I can't. My comments are stuck, so I can't see anything that y'all have done recently. Okay, but let me know. I feel like it's important to spend time wisely doing stuff, especially when people are trying to take me out. I've got to spend my time wisely. And I'd like to know what you think about the future of what's going on. What do we need to be watching for? What do you think about this? Do you think that it is a distraction? Do you think this is real? Do you think that maybe I'm wrong. Do you think that we were created by aliens. I don't know. It's nice to be here. Look, it's always nice to be here. When I turn on my live button and people are here, I'm always amazed. I am always amazed when I go live and somebody shows up. I'm like, really? I'm always shocked when there's people here. Like, really? You want to hear what I have to say? I'm like, wow. Wow. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. I think it's the century-old playbook too. Definitely. But for some reason it's really hyped up. Like where it's on steroids. And I feel like we're definitely like barreling towards something. Okay. Definitely. Whew. Like a runaway train. And why? Why the timing now? We could have done this before. Why? There's so many things. Gosh. I've had so many theories. I've seen so many things, and I have to wonder, like, how many of you have ever heard of the theory of the like the mud? What is it? Like all the mudslides and the orphan trains and everything. Like our history. I was studying some on that of how our buildings, I've often thought of that, how ornate these old buildings were. If you even look at the insides of them, like things that aren't seen, and a lot of people say that at one time they were free energy, like the Eiffel Tower was actually it's not like a piece of art. It's like a tower. It's like an energy tower. And maybe our history has been wiped. I mean, because really, we don't know. Beyond maybe our great grandparents, we don't know. We don't know nothing. We just know what's in books. We don't. We don't know anything. So there's the mud floods. There's so much that could be explored. If you're watching this on the replay crew, please put down something that you want to hear. Somebody already told me about Schneider. Tell me what you want to hear. What do you want to talk about? Anything's open. If you are interested in like God has really been like just pouring a lot of stuff into me recently. Thinking about doing a whole nother channel for that. If you're interested in that, let me know. Who are my people for that? It's a whole other look. I've got the spooky channel over here where it's all paranormal. It's crazy. I'm so scattered into so many interests. But let me know. I am so appreciative of everybody who showed up tonight. I've been on here a long time, but I have missed y'all. Know that sometimes I don't always respond. Sometimes it's better for me not to. It's better for you not to be associated with me. Do you know what I'm saying? If I'm under heavy attack, it's better for you to just pray for me. Just pray for me, okay? And for you, Samantha, I will still be praying for you. I know you've had a heck of a year. And all of y'all, if you're praying people, pray for Samantha. All right. I love you all. I will see you again soon. Give me a subject. Give me something to talk about, and let's talk. And if you're into spooky stuff, I will still be throwing some videos out on that channel. And who knows what I'm going to be doing. I'll let you know where else I might be. All right. Love you. Have a great week. Stay safe out there. Watch out for the aliens. They didn't create y'all. I don't care what you said. You didn't come from a freaking alien. All right. Have a great week. Whatever you do, just stay silky. Bye-bye.